I don't really watch The View often. No offense to The View, just not my cup of tea. But I did see this clip yesterday, and I was kind of astounded. Generally, I like Whoopi Goldberg. I was a big fan of the Sister Act back in the day. I think she's a good actress. Again, I don't watch The View that much, so I don't really follow what she or any of them say. I can't stand Meghan McCain. She's a privileged brat and the daughter of, frankly, a warmongering person who died recently. So I don't really. Why would I want to hear what Meghan McCain has to say about politics? She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, and I don't really care what she has to say about politics. I find Joy Behar pretty funny, but all of these women, they have a right to say whatever they want. They're frankly living in a bubble in New York City, fairly wealthy. So why do I want to hear about politics from those people? Not my cup of tea. So Whoopi Goldberg apparently has a problem with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So I'm going to let you, I'm going to play this, and then we'll talk about why she's so ridiculously wrong.
To be
listen, let me just say this about Ocasio-Cortez. She just got in on Thursday. She was sworn in.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's very opinionated, which we like. We like opinionated women. But it is very, very difficult when people make accusations where you say, you know, the Democrats have done nothing. The establishment of the Democrats have done nothing. And I just want to throw this out to you. John Lewis wasn't sitting still.
Right.
Dianne Feinstein wasn't sitting still. There are a whole bunch of people in the Democratic Party who have been busting their asses to make sure that women get what they need, people get what they need, children get what they need. So you just got in there, and I know you got lots of good ideas, but I would encourage you to sit still for a minute and learn the job. And, you know, and just, you know, because there are people in that party who have been working their tails off for this country.
They know a lot.
And they know a lot.
And
you could learn some stuff from them. Yeah. And I just feel like, you know, you don't have to be born into it. You don't have to know it when you step out. But before you start pooping on people and what they've done, you got to do something too.
Well, she hasn't done
That's well said.
Well,
that's really well said.
There is absolutely room.
Oh, God. I don't even know. I don't know where to start with that. It's so wrong. And the problem is, you know, our media, whether it's the news media or whether it's entertainment media, they're all living in a bubble. They're all living in a bubble. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, criticism isn't that the Democratic Party has done nothing. It's that the Democratic Party has done a lot for Wall Street, for fossil fuel companies, for pharmaceutical companies, for real estate developers, for endless war. Her criticism, my criticism, your criticism isn't that they haven't done anything. It's they've done a lot of bad shit that isn't for us. So that's number one, Whoopi Goldberg. You don't understand what it is she ran on. And frankly, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez didn't particularly run that, like, I don't remember her foaming at the mouth of the Democratic Party. I remember her running on specific issues. Medicare for all, free public college, a Green New Deal, these kinds of things. So when you say Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is saying that the Democratic Party hasn't been doing anything, no, Whoopi, maybe you should actually be listening to what she's been saying. She's saying the Democratic Party's message doesn't match their record. What they're saying they're for, who they're saying they're for, in reality doesn't match the policies they are pushing and the money they are taking. So that's first off. Secondly, you can't really get more disingenuous, Whoopi Goldberg, than to make it seem like she's knocking civil rights hero John Lewis. Who in the progressive movement's main gripe is with John Lewis? I can't think of any progressive I've ever heard say a word about John Lewis other than tipping their hat to his bravery during the civil rights marches and movements. So to pick John Lewis and kind of insinuate that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is like criticizing John Lewis and people like that is just ridiculous. That's not what she's talking about. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I salute John Lewis and putting his body on the line and the bravery of him during the civil rights movement. I covered 2 years ago the Selma Bridge anniversary. I know who John Lewis is. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez knows who John Lewis is. I don't really follow John Lewis's record. I'm sure he takes money from special interests. So two things could be true. John Lewis could take money from special interests while also being a civil rights hero. Then you mentioned Dianne Feinstein and how hard she's been working for working people. What planet are you living in? Dianne Feinstein has been working for Raytheon and Boeing and Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. She's been working for Wall Street. Maybe when she entered politics, during the dinosaur age, maybe she was a little more progressive then. Hell, Hillary Clinton in the early 90s was definitely more progressive than later on. But look at Dianne Feinstein's record. She hasn't done anything for the working people of California. She is a warmongering establishment corporatist. So you're citing John Lewis, who Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, progressives aren't, our main issue is not with John Lewis. And then you're citing basically a servant for the military-industrial complex. It's absurd. It's absurd. Then the last thing on that, don't be an ageist. I don't think the point is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez needs to just be a little good girl and go in the back of the Congress and, learn the job. No. The problem is we need to force the people who have been there too long to either unlearn the way they've learned the job, which, if you actually look at it, is dialing for dollars the majority of their weeks, sitting in an office dialing for dollars. You want her to learn how to do that? Whoopi Goldberg? No. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she don't need to learn the ways of Washington. I think she knows the ways of Washington. That's why she won, because she ran against that. That's why Bernie Sanders is so popular. He knows the ways of Washington. Now, you want to get into the weeds, and she needs to learn, legislating and how to write a bill and all these things. Okay, maybe she doesn't know that right out of the gate. No one would expect her to. But she doesn't need to know, how to dial for dollars and which consultants to meet with in Washington and which big pharma executives not to cross and which Wall Street people to stay away from and which ones to meet with in the Hamptons. Like Kamala Harris met with Hillary Clinton's donors in the Hamptons in 2017 in the summer. I mean, I don't have anything against Whoopi Goldberg. I like her as an actress, but God, are you speaking like an out-of-touch oligarch or plutocrat? And I honestly don't think Whoopi Goldberg, for example, the people smearing David Sirota as attacking Beto O'Rourke, they mean it in a malicious way. They're intentionally smearing him, deflecting, distorting. I don't actually think Whoopi Goldberg thinks she's saying anything wrong because she herself isn't politically astute. Frankly, she's not politically astute enough to actually go to opensecrets.org and see who these people are taking money from. She thinks Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, railing against the Democratic Party, she's privileged. That's a good way of saying it, George. And frankly, money has no color. There's a lot of black people who are wealthy that are just as out of touch as rich white people. I've met them. So, Yes, there are certainly racial issues in this country. Make no mistake about it. That's why you see me reporting out there as much as I do in black communities on issues of police brutality or water contamination in Flint. Me, when I was at the Young Turks, interviewing people in St. Louis and them telling me it's like modern day Jim Crow in St. Louis. Clearly, there's racial issues. But obviously, if you got money for many years and you're living just fine, it don't matter if you're white, it don't matter if you're black, it don't matter if you're a marshmallow. You're not going to be connected with the working people of America. And I tweeted this the other day, but I said, hey, Whoopi, go ask the people in Detroit. Go ask the people in Baltimore. Go ask the people in St. Louis. Go ask the people in Flint. Go ask the people in Cleveland, Milwaukee, Ferguson, a lot of other places, how much the Democratic Party has done for them. By the way, certainly we're not endorsing the Republican Party, who's just as corrupt, just as bad, just as bought off. But the point is, the Republican Party isn't exactly pretending to be the party of the worker bee. They don't pretend. They hoodwink a lot of people into thinking, they're just trying to leave more money in the pockets of working people. So they leave like a $10 tax cut for the workers and then and then $100,000 tax cut for the plutocrats. Unfortunately, the people getting that $10 tax cut, the Republicans are for us.